Start the clock.
This is Valley View News.
Massive budget cutbacks are hitting students at CSUN. Updates on the Rihanna and Chris Brown incident. And CSUN volleyball with Pepperdine on their home court. Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Erica Gutierrez.
And I'm Robin Reese.
The job picture in California continues to deteriorate. The unemployment rate hit 10.1% in January, with nearly 80,000 jobs lost. In Los Angeles County, the unemployment rate rose to 10.1%, up nearly 1.5% from December. Hardest hit were entertainment, education, and health services. Governor Schwarzenegger says the state is counting on President Obama's stimulus plan to help California.
The California State University system could face an additional $50 million in budget cuts if the state does not receive enough funding from the federal stimulus plan. Valley View's Steffi Mugliotti reports on how the budget cuts are affecting CSUN students.
In 2008 and 2009, CSUN lost $6.6 million due to the $97 million in cuts made to the state university system. CSUN stands to lose an additional $4.6 million this year because of the state budget cuts. CSUN could lose another $3.5 million if the CSU doesn't receive federal money this year. The chair of the CSUN Department of Economics, Shirley Savorny, says CSUN needs to limit the number of units that students can take while at CSUN.
One of the ways that the university is trying to manage it so it has the least impact on students who want to come to college is to deal with those students who are taking too many units, to get them graduated, to take students who have, when you're on probation, you get disqualified at some point before they would let you come back. Now they're going to say after, I don't know, 1 or 2 disqualifications, you are out.
The current budget cuts means a 10% increase in tuition fees for 2009 and 2010, and a decrease of 1,800 students for future enrollment to the school. CSUN students say the budget cuts are devastating to California and are going to impact students severely.
I have to compete more for schedules.
I don't think it's going to affect me as much as it's going to affect the incoming freshmen and the transfer students who want to get enrolled and aren't going to be able to because they're decreasing their enrollment.
It's really affecting, the way people are going to school, and I just think it's really sad. It feels like, they don't really care,
It'll eliminate some of the opportunities for students to go to a higher education, and so if they try to block that, and it'll prevent us from getting a higher source of income.
Students are going to have to be working more hours, less ability to focus on the schoolwork that they have in front of them because they got to pay additional bills with no resources where these things can come from. Additional student loans, people are going to be in greater debt.
The budget cuts are also affecting the completion of the Valley Performing Arts Center. But construction of the new science building remains on schedule and will be completed this fall. I am Steffi Mugliotti in Northridge for Valley View News.
For the first time in history, the California state universities are turning away applications from eligible college students. Some of the most well-regarded public colleges across the country are also seeing a surge in applications. State University of New York officials are predicting more than 15,000 students will be competing for 1,100 spots. State colleges in Connecticut, Oregon, Ohio are also seeing at least a 10% rise in applications. A poll by the National Center for Public Policy and Higher Education says anxiety about paying for college is almost at unprecedented levels.
Starbucks has a new instant coffee that it hopes will appeal to at-home coffee makers and the travel industry. Valley View's Kristen Price has more.
Starbucks reveals its new Via Ready Brew, instant coffee that costs less than $1 per cup. The Seattle-based company is adjusting to the economy by making a coffee that consumers won't feel guilty about buying. Starbucks manager Kelly says it appeals to large companies.
But I think Starbucks is mainly focusing on things like hotels or air travel, where they could save money in buying a better quality product, and it's easier to use.
The slump in sales recently forced the coffee maker to announce 200 more store closings and 6,000 in-store layoffs. Ari Tavelman says people want a good deal.
Anything cheaper, everyone likes, especially now.
Starbucks hopes to expand its market by appealing to travelers, campers, and at-home coffee makers.
Starbucks' new Via Ready brand will be available in markets this month. In Northridge, I'm Kristen Price for Valley View News.
American International Group is in trouble again. The government will provide the company with another $30 billion. This is the fourth time that the government has aided AIG. The government has provided nearly $200 million to AIG to keep the company from collapsing.
The struggling mortgage lending giant Freddie Mac says its chief executive will resign. The board says it is working with the Federal Housing Finance Agency to find David Moffat's successor. The resignation comes a few days after Freddie Mac said it needed at least $15 billion in government aid because it lost nearly $59 billion last year as the foreclosure crisis mushroomed.
Los Angeles city officials are trying to put a stop to super graphic posters, which are all over Los Angeles. Valley View News reporter Robin Reese has the story.
Los Angeles has one of the worst billboard problems in the nation. Small signs, electronic signs, and even super graphic posters are stretched across buildings everywhere. LA resident Brian Fisher doesn't approve of the signs.
I think that they are kind of tacky. I mean, billboards in general on the side of buildings are pretty tacky, and it's not really necessary.
The plethora of posters has officials like City Councilman Jack Weiss upset. He says super graphics block views and architecture, and are also blocking escape routes and posing a safety hazard for people inside. Michael McNeely from SkyTag is responsible for many of these super graphic posters showcasing Lady Liberty in the year 1969. He says the city's action is creating a chilling effect on First Amendment rights. Threats of fines and jail for creating a mural of the Statue of Liberty in America or Los Angeles is just not right. Using the power of government to censor artistic and political speech is un-American. LA resident says free speech needs to be protected.
Well, it's free speech, and if the property owner isn't complaining, it's their agreement with the property owner. I think we're over-permitted as it is. You can't even go fishing without a license. You can't drive without a license. You got to get a permit for everything. They're constantly taxing and taxing and taxing and taxing. I mean, free speech. Go for it. Protect it.
Last week, the Los Angeles City Council renewed a temporary ordinance that will put a short-term ban on new billboards. The measure gives the city extra time to come up with a law that will actually stick, but the ban expires on March 26th. The Lady Liberty super graphic posters plastered all over downtown Hollywood are another indication that the city cannot maintain control over these outdoor posters. In Hollywood, Robin Reese for Valley View News. Many families are opting to stay home this spring break due to the current state of the economy, but many online travel sites are offering trips at affordable prices. For instance, Travelocity can fly an entire family of 4 to Jamaica for 5 nights for only $3,000, with airfare and hotel included. Nearly 200,000 jobs were lost in the travel industry last year, and another 250,000 are expected to be lost this year.
Coming up next, a report on the closing music performance for Black History Month.
And are Rihanna and Chris Brown back together? We have the scoop.